Let me show you why students finally understand geometry after watching this.
Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you've ever stared at a triangle on a math test and just felt this immediate wave of panic, hey, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're mastering right-angled triangles using the legendary SOH CAH TOA method. I'm honestly so excited to break this down for you because once you see the logic here, trigonometry goes from this confusing, scary maze to a totally solvable puzzle.
Right, so how do you actually find a missing side in a right-angled triangle? Look, we all know the feeling. You look at the angles, you look at the sides, and it just looks like a massive jumble of letters and numbers. It's the classic dread of trig exams. But what if I told you trigonometry isn't a mystery at all? Seriously, by the end of this explainer, we're going to turn this daunting task into a simple, unbeatable cheat code recipe.
Here's our foolproof recipe for success today. We're going to start with the SOH CAH TOA recipe, then walk through labeling sides, figuring out knowns and unknowns, and picking your ratio. After that, we'll actually solve a real exam problem together and wrap up with some top survival tips.
All right, let's jump into part 1, the SOH CAH TOA recipe. You know, the absolute biggest secret to trigonometry is understanding that these ratios, sine, cosine, and tangent, are really just simple recipes. They just link the angles of a triangle to the lengths of its sides. It's like baking. If you know what ingredients you have, you can always find the missing piece. To master this, we use a 3-step logic. Step 1, you label your sides. Step 2, identify your knowns and unknowns. And step 3, match those up with the SOH CAH TOA mnemonic.
Moving on to part 2. Step 1. Label your sides.
Think about it like cooking. You absolutely cannot start a recipe if you have no idea what ingredients are sitting on your kitchen counter, right? Labeling is the most critical part of the whole process. And here's the absolute crucial point. Everything depends entirely on where your reference angle is located. Always start right there. First, find the hypotenuse. That's always the longest side, and it's parked directly across from the 90-degree right angle. Next up is the opposite side. This one is directly across from your specific reference angle. A great little trick is to literally draw an arrow from your angle straight across the inside of the triangle to find it. Finally, we have the adjacent side. Well, adjacent literally just means next to. So this is the side right next to your reference angle that isn't the hypotenuse.
Part 3, Step 2, Knowns and Unknowns.
Okay, so this step is all about scanning your problem like a detective. In literally every single exam problem, you are essentially looking for a specific pair of sides. One of these sides is going to have a given value, say a number like 20 centimeters. That's your known. The other side, that's the one you are desperately trying to calculate. That is your unknown. You need to isolate this specific pair of sides in your mind because they totally dictate what happens next.
Okay, let's look at part 4. Step 3, pick your ratio.
All right, this is where we bring in our ultimate toolkit. Based on that exact pair of known and unknown sides you just locked onto, you're going to use the SOH CAH TOA mnemonic to pick the perfectly right formula. First up is sine, represented by SOH. SOH means sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. You pull out the sine ratio when your calculation involves the side directly across from your reference angle and the longest side of the triangle. Next is cosine, which is represented by CAH. CAH stands for cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. You're going to use this ratio when you're working with the side right next to your reference angle along with the hypotenuse. And notice the really fundamental distinction between sine and cosine here. While both ratios share the exact same denominator, the hypotenuse, their numerator ingredients are totally different. Sine uses the opposite side, while cosine relies on the adjacent side. Honestly, just visually distinguishing this in your head is going to save you from making so many simple errors on test day. Finally, we have tangent, represented by TO. TO means tangent equals opposite over adjacent. Now this is a vital tool. If you have the opposite side and you want the adjacent side, or vice versa, you're dealing with this OA relationship. Whenever you have an OA situation, you absolutely must use the tangent ratio. Notice that the hypotenuse doesn't factor into this one at all. And this brings us to our quick decision guide, which brilliantly illustrates the whole thing. Just look at your knowns and unknowns. Opposite and hypotenuse, choose SOH. Adjacent and hypotenuse, choose CAH. Opposite and adjacent, choose TOA. It really truly is as simple as matching your ingredients to the right recipe.
Let's move to part 5, solving a real exam problem.
All right, let's ramp up the energy and actually apply our recipe to a real live exam question together. So the prompt reads, in triangle ABC, right angled at C, the angle ABC is 40 degrees and side AC is 20 centimeters. Find the length of BC. Okay, at first glance, this might look completely daunting, but let's just take a breath and invite our 3 steps to the party.
Methodically executing our steps makes this so effortless. Step 1. Relative to our 40-degree angle, the side across from it, AC, is our opposite side, which is 20. The side we need, BC, is right next to the angle, making it our adjacent side. Step 2. We have opposite and we need adjacent. Op and adj means we use tangent, TOA. Step 3. Let's set up the equation. Tangent of 40 degrees equals the opposite side over the adjacent side. So tan of 40 equals 20 divided by BC. See how easily the logic sets up the math for us?
From here, it's really just a simple algebraic rearrangement. We want to isolate BC. Now, a super common slip-up students make when the unknown is in the denominator is to accidentally multiply. But mathematically, we need to multiply both sides by BC and then divide by tan 40. That leaves us with our final answer. BC equals 20 divided by tan 40 degrees. And boom, problem solved completely effortlessly.
And finally, part 6, top exam survival tips.
Before we wrap this up, I want to give you some rapid-fire secrets to avoiding those really common exam traps. First, and I mean this, the absolute most powerful thing you can do is write SOH CAH TOA at the top of your paper the very second you sit down and see a right-angled triangle. Literally, just get it out of your head. Second, always check your calculator. Make sure it's actually in degree mode. Look for a little D or DEG on the screen, not radian mode. Third, quickly locate that 90-degree angle to immediately identify your hypotenuse. And finally, always do a sensibility check. If you calculate a side that is somehow longer than your hypotenuse, recheck your math for sure.
I really want to leave you with this core takeaway today. Trigonometry isn't a mystery. It's just matching the right recipe to your ingredients. By labeling your sides carefully, identifying your knowns and unknowns, and trusting the SOH CAH TOA mnemonic, you completely vanquish that math anxiety. You are the one in control of the problem, not the other way around. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you're faced with a right-angled triangle, are you going to panic, or are you going to confidently write SOH CAH TOA on the top of your page and get right to work? I highly encourage you to actively apply these tools on your very next geometry problem and continue mastering the incredible, logical world of mathematics. Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me today.
As always, the link for this study tool is in the description below. Let me know what you think in the comments.